So you made it to maps with your warrior, but you are not feeling very strong, or you don't know if you have a build that can get through maps as easily as you'd like. Well, let's take a look at what we've got here. So, this is looking at a 67 Warbringer that I've got currently, very early in game. I've done one tier 1 map currently. Decent resistances, no chaos. 45% block, but it's being halved. We'll get into the skill tree here in a minute and show you why. Pretty low on armor, too, all things considered. The Thorns build that this was going for doesn't seem necessarily to be easily viable, going straight into Endgame and really in cruel difficulty. I don't know that it could be easily done, but there's still hope. Gear I would usually ignore, but let's take a look at this before we really get into this, is that I think to make that Thorns thought work, if you've kind of seen that video in the past, that you'd want to use a Doomgate because you get enemies cold on block, which is just nice to instant kill. I've been using this for a while, actually, and I still like it. It still seems good. I have a cat screaming at me on the floor. So let's take a look at what skill buildup can hopefully help you get through early maps, because I've been having a really good set of results with this. First off, let's look at the passive tree. This is a Warbringer, and I've only done 2 sets of Ascendancy. So, hello. So we have 40% base chance to block from shield instead of the shield's value, which, okay, but what we wanted to get this node for, what we're going into, is 35% less block chance, but you can block damage from all hits while shield is not raised, which is huge, especially with the culling shield, because then we don't have to worry about using raised shield. We can free up a slot down here on our bar. As far as the rest of the passive tree, this is very much a work in progress, but kind of came down armor and get some regen strength. This is pretty standard. I grabbed a melee damage and some heavy stun. You're going to be doing a lot of heavy stun with this setup that I have. Onto a highway going down this direction. I took a lot of strength. This is one of the last things that I grabbed, and I'll show you why. It's because we're using Giant's Blood, so we could put a two-hander in a single hand, but we're going to triple the strength requirement of weapons. Any attribute requirement, actually. So that extra strength came in clutch. Aside from that, going down this, I've started here on this armor because I keep getting stunned now in the game, so I want to fix that. Up here, Resolute Technique will help you never miss. Hit or miss. I guess they never miss, huh? And this is great because there's nothing worse than missing, except for missing with a two-hander and a one-hand slot when you're really slow with it. It feels pretty bad. Still kept the thorns, because I do want that to work out, but you could probably refund these in your tree, put them elsewhere. Took Shattering Blow and flipped the script, so we're going to break even more armor on enemies. We want to break as much armor as possible and get a gem slot here, and that's kind of where this section stops. At the bottom, this is just reduce attack speed for a lot of attack damage, which seems pretty worth. This entire armor breaking section, you're going to break their armor for a longer period of time. You're going to do more damage, 60% more on fully broken armor, which is really good. Another strength node, 1% increased damage. Actually, it's damage. I forgot. It's 1% increased damage per 15 strength. These are all strengths. So you get 12, 12, 12. And then that one's more damage for every 15 strength you have. Moving up over here, we've got physical damage prevented, recouped his life, which stacks really well with the fact that you're blocking, or you're able to block hits from all attacks. And the rest in this tree. Right, more armor, more armor, more armor. You never have too much armor. This shield node here is recover 20 life whenever you block, which again with the Warbringer passive is a lot of life. 80% less knockback distance for blocked hits. And another Thorn node up here, but it's not just Thorn. It's attack speed if you've been hit recently, which is going to be all the time. You're just constantly taking hits. And Thorn's damage if you've blocked recently. With the Warbringer passive, we're blocking all attacks. So that's another... That would be another key part once I get the Thorns portion working. Again, if you want to really optimize this, you could remove that. You could go for more resistances if you feel your survivability is low. There's a lot of different ways you can go. You could start grabbing more damage against heavy stun enemies. You can get some of the two-hander nodes, I think, over here, because if you're already using Giant's Blood, you have a two-hander in a one-hand slot, then why not take some of that damage if you're not getting the throughput from Thorns that you want? But like I said, it's kind of a work in progress. I still want to make this work. We'll see. Skills. The primary attack, we are actually using Mace Strike for a primary now because we are breaking armor on hit. So we've got, I think I've only got two. Yeah, I wanted to make sure. I do want for the third ascendancy to break armor equal to 10% of hit damage dealt. That'll be big. Don't have it yet. Anyway, we have Mace Strike. Still could use some Jeweler's Orbs. I think Herald of Ash, and I don't really have anything supporting these. We'll go through them in order. Mace Strike. I'll put Rage in, so we're gonna start building up Rage. I haven't really maximized the use of Rage yet, but I did want to kind of start down that path. Overpower, so it's going to be more stun buildup and magnified effect, so more AoE, just meaning that the Mace Strike is going to hit in more of an area. We're going to break more armor because we're breaking when we hit, which we want the armor to break because then we have 60% more damage to armor broken enemies, plus they are going to have their armor broken for double amount of time. Just all around good. Bone Shatter for the heavy stun when they're primed for it. 35%. We have Heavy Swing for a support for 35% more physical damage. Now this will feel slow though, because you're getting 10% less speed, and I'm going to hop in a map in a second and show you. But that can feel slow with a two-hander, but I still do think it's worth. Shockwave, so the damage is going to AoE out. And Splinter to break armor equal to 15% of physical damage dealt. Now this is actually really good. This is kind of a sleeper gem, I think, on Bone Shatter, because it also applies to the AoE from what I can tell, so you can just break a huge mass of armor if you've got a lot of enemies lined up. Perfect Strike, absolutely carrying in the damage route here, which is going to be really slow with your two-hander, but pretty much the same as the other two builds that got us to this point. Concentrated effect for more damage and less area of effect. Window of Opportunity, so that you can time it, which does get harder with a two-hander, but still very easily doable. And Fire Infusion, so you get more damage as extra fire damage. Generally, you would want to aim for physical, but because we're already doing some split elemental on Perfect Strike, I think it's fine, and honestly, it pulls the damage up quite a bit. You have 3,600 here, 4,100 there, so why not take it? Now, we have swapped to Seismic Cry from Corrupting Cry, or not Corrupting Cry, but whatever the other Cry, Infernal Cry is. We are still using Corrupting Cry Gem, just because it's good AoE. We have Dazing Cry, so they'll daze enemies, which lasts for 4 seconds. Now, Daze is going to make them take more stun buildup, right? So this is just another way for you to get your Bone Shatter off to get the AoE, more damage. And Raging Cry, which gives you 4 rage per 5 power of the counted enemies in range. So depending on how strong those enemies are, I'll hover this so you can see that. Depending on how strong the rarity of the enemy, you're going to build up rage. Again, part of getting rage into an area where we can start using it for the build, even if it's not fully realized yet. You do actually have, I will say this, as kind of a midway point in the skills, I feel like Warrior is not where it was at day one. You have a lot more versatility and a lot more options now on how you can approach, and I honestly feel like I have too many tools to succeed in a good way. It's like suffering from success. Next up, Armor Breaker. You know we haven't pulled this off. Generally, your hits are going to be enough to do what you need to do. Your Bone Shatter is going to be enough to pull armor. But when you're fighting a boss, maybe something's a little extra tough, you want a single button rotation to peel that armor. Armor Breaker's the go-to. Armor Explosion for that extra damage. Because if the thought is, hey, I've got to use Armor Breaker to fully focus on one enemy, when that's done, let's do a little bit of AoE so I didn't waste all my time. Break Endurance, so 20% chance to gain an endurance charge when you fully break armor. And Lacerate, which is a 50% chance to inflict bleeding. It's just extra damage. I don't know that that's really doing a ton. You could synergize off of bleeding skills as well with this. Leap Slam for mobility. I've actually got rid of Shield Charge. Jagged Ground, so 50% chance when you land to create a jagged ground. I believe it also does it where you jump. And Holy Descent, which create consecrated ground on landing. And what this is going to do is it's going to cause you and your allies, so if you're a minion build, this would affect them if you play with a group, to regen 5% of max life per second, and your curses, any curses on you or allies, have a 50% reduction of effect. So really nice you can actually just jump in place if you need a quick heal. And then your boss nuker, Hammer of the Gods. Now, this is why we switched to Seismic Cry, because if we go back and look, Seismic Cry, when you hit them and they're prime for stun, it's going to empower the next melee slam attack you perform, plus an additional attack per endurance charge consumed. So, empowers the next melee slam. That's important because Hammer of the Gods is a melee slam. So you Seismic Cry, get your charge ready, and then we're going to cast Hammer of the Gods. What we have here is Exploit Weakness, where they cannot break armor, but it consumes fully broken armor to deal 50% more damage. So make sure their armor is broken before you cast this. You have Fast Forward, so 30% less effect duration. Just means it's going to come out faster. If you can aim and time this and you don't feel like you're missing it, take this out and put something else in. And Fist of War. So we're going to ancestrally boost no more than once every 6 seconds, which the cooldown is longer than that. So every time you're casting Hammer of the Gods, it's boosted. That set of gems for a standard rotation, I've been just clearing maps, no problem. We'll put it to the test in a second. As far as passives, I am running 3 spirit passives right now. You may have more or less spirit. You can take out, I would keep Scavenge Plating, and then you can decide for yourself Herald of Ash or Time of Need, which you do or don't want. I'd probably take out Time of Need, if anything. But we'll start with the one that I use the most, Scavenge Plating, which is on. So every time we're breaking armor, we're getting a stack, excuse me, of Scavenge Plating with Persistence so that they last longer, with Cannibalism, so when that's up, we're getting 4% of life recovered on kill, which is huge, because you're generally going to, and the way that I found this work is even if you kill an enemy with a hit that would break their armor, I believe it is still counting that as you having broken their armor to give you the life recovered when they die, if the hit would have broken their armor. Think. And then the last support gem on Scavenge Plating is Herbalism, so 30% increased recovery from flasks. It's nice if you, I mean, there's nothing else I could really put in here in early access. Time of Need is good because you're just kind of rotating through healing and removing curses and ailments from you, which as a warrior, you're going to be in there, you're going to be getting hit with all kinds of crap. Even though you're blocking, even though you have good survivability, what's more? And Herald of Ash for overkill, explodes in an AoE, deals fire damage. Easy, pretty simple and straightforward. That's what we're looking at. Gear, I mean, I've got, you know, an okay physical damage. It got lightning damage, which is frustrating. Main hand. Just try to put resistance. I mean, in your weapon, you're going to do more damage, right? But everything else, just try to get your resistances decent. None of my gear is really that special. Matter of fact, it's probably pretty bad. So I wouldn't look at it too much. Now, I have a tier 1 Waystone, just to kind of show you this build here. So let's hop in a map and show you how this goes. I thought I cleared a second map, but I must not have. Oh, it says map attempted. Maybe I had to quit for some reason. Let's go. Hello, Luke. If you come over here, I will hold you. Okay, well, cats. Alright, so Tier 1 map. No modifiers. See, one hit, we've already got Prime for Stun into Bone Shatter and just clear groups. Now again, it's no modifiers, so this is not some like super special, you know, best build you've ever seen. But for, you know, no knowledge of Endgame, we don't really know where this is going to go beyond early access. In the sense of, we don't know what's going to be meta. I don't know what's meta right now. Probably go on max roll and get a really good build. But even if you don't know what you're doing, which is me, I mean, I've used 2 abilities to clear this. The trash. I don't have to do anything except left click and then Bone Shatter. This is, it just feels good. Might not be fun to some people. Oh, you're using 2 abilities to win. But to me, it just feels good. That pack took a second. Boom. 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 Oop, that one didn't go yet. There we go. Let's actually find some rare or something to kill. Now, I like it being pretty chill, so this build for me, I love it. Because I can AFK and, like, with my brain, you know what I mean? And work on something else. I can, if I really wanted to have an in-depth build, I have a witch that I'm playing right now, a minion witch build, and that is pretty involved. This, though, I kind of want to finish this map. The one complaint I think I would have about this, the trash clear is pretty good, but my speed, my movement speed is just, it feels like it sucks. Okay, so we're not invincible, as you can see. Seismic Cry will call, oh no, I missed. Well, Perfect Strike will carry us. You can see Perfect Strike, even on a rare, handles it very well. The Waystone, boom. And you'll notice you can look at my scavenge plating stacks in the top left for when armor's broken. It pretty much is just capped at 10 all the time, which means that our cannibalism and then the recovery, the life recovery on kill is active all the time. It's very much can feel like a brinksmanship build, because if you start taking damage, the normal reaction is to run away. But if you stay in the thick of it with this, you can regen a ton of life. Because remember, you're going to be, with the passive build that I have, you're regening health on block, you're regening health on enemy kill, you're regening health the more that you have the stacks of your scavenge plating up. So it does... It's almost counterintuitive in that you're playing a warrior. You just want to be in the fight. I think a lot of people play ranged builds where they want to stay away, not get hit, not risk it, but we are not those classes. We are a warrior. We hit stuff in the face with a 2-handed mace, and it feels good. So let's see if we can clear the rest of this map real quick. So I even got myself surrounded there in a really bad position, and still good. That consecrated ground effect, right? Boom. So see, that put me straight back to 10. You could just constantly stay at scavenge plating stacks. Rage is building up too. I haven't really found a way to spend it yet. Not that I'm not aware of one, just that I don't know what would work best with this build. There we go. So even though I can't... Ooh, did I miss that? That felt bad. There we go. Map completed. So there's an unmodified tier 1 map. You can finish the rest of these out if you want. Now, I don't know how great this build would be beyond this in tier 2. I have a tier 2 Waystone I need to take a look at. But I did figure I wanted to put out at least one post-Christmas build guide for the Thorns Warrior, even though right now we're not very thorny. Boom. Feels good. I didn't have to really use Seismic Cry at all. I didn't have to use Armor Breaker on any of those rares. I didn't feel the need to activate my Consecrated Ground jump. I think I used Hammer of the Gods once and missed. I used Perfect Strike for like 1 or 2 mobs. Again, going back to what I said earlier, I feel like you almost have too many tools to succeed, which is a vast difference from where we were at day 1. So Warrior Mains that never gave up, this is for you. This is great. I'll put this up. Should be up the day after Christmas. And when I have updates on the Thorn build, the rest of the Thorn build, we'll get those out. But I'll be honest with you, been having a lot of fun on my Infernalist. So I don't know how much I'm playing this Warrior. But coming back, it does feel good. So I probably will do another video on it soon. That is all that I've got here. Hopefully, if you have another... I know a lot of people have been talking about Resonating Shield in the comments. I'm telling you, for me, it felt underwhelming. But, hey, if you want to throw Resonating Shield on, you want to, you know... You want to somehow make some AoE build work with Resonating Shield? I mean, I could see it. Maybe it's a skill issue on my part. Let me know what gems you're running. Do you have an early game map build that could synergize better? Do you have something you're spending rage on that you've been past this step? Let me know, because I'd like to try it out and might make a video on it. So that's all I got. We'll see y'all.